Surah Al-Mumtahina, the Test of Faith. Hadith 410. Narrated Ali, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sent me along with Az-Zubayr and Al-Miqdad and said, proceed till you reach a place called at-Talaq where there is a lady traveling in a howdah on a camel. She has a letter. Take the letter from her. So we set out, and our horses ran at full pace till we reached at-Talaq, and behold, we saw the lady and said, to her, take out the letter. She said, I have no letter with me. We said, either you take out the letter or we will strip you of your clothes. So she took the letter out of her hair braid. We brought the letter to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and behold, it was addressed by Hatib bin Abi Balta to some pagans at Makkah, informing them of some of the affairs of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, what is this, O Hatib? Hatib replied, do not be hasty with me, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I am an Ansari man and do not belong to them, Quraysh infidels, while the emigrants who were with you had their relatives who used to protect their families and properties at Makkah. So, to compensate for not having blood relation with them, I intended to do them some favor so that they might protect my relatives, at Makkah, and I did not do this out of disbelief or an inclination to desert my religion. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, then said, to his companions, he, Hatib, has told you the truth. Umar said, O Allah's Apostle, allow me to chop his head off. The Apostle said, he is one of those who witnessed, fought in, the battle of Badr, and what do you know, perhaps Allah looked upon the people of Badr warriors, and said, do what you want, as I have forgiven you. Umar, a sub-narrator, said, this verse was revealed about him, Hatib, O you who believe. Take not my enemies and your enemies as friends or protectors, Surah 60, Ayah 1. Narrated Ali, Sufyan was asked whether, the verse, take not my enemies and your enemies, was revealed in connection with Hatib. Sufyan replied, this occurs only in the narration of the people. I memorized the hadith from Umar, not overlooking even a single letter thereof, and I do not know of anybody who remembered it by heart other than myself. Hadith 411. Narrated Urwa, Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used to examine the believing women who migrated to him in accordance with this verse, O Prophet. When believing women come to you to take the oath of allegiance to you, verily, Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful, Surah 60, Ayah 12. Aisha said, and if any of the believing women accepted the condition, assigned in the above-mentioned verse, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, would say to her, I have accepted your pledge of allegiance. He would only say that, for, by Allah, his hand never touched any lady during that pledge of allegiance. He did not receive their pledge except by saying, I have accepted your pledge of allegiance for that. Hadith 412. Narrated Mariya, we took the oath of allegiance to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and he recited to us, they will not associate anything in worship with Allah, and forbade us to bewail the dead. Thereupon a lady withdrew her hand, refrained from taking the oath of allegiance, and said, but such and such lady lamented over one of my relatives, so I must do the same over the dead relatives of hers. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, did not object to that, so she went there, and returned to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, so he accepted her pledge of allegiance. Hadith 413. Narrated Ibn Abbas, regarding the saying of Allah, and they will not disobey you in any just matter, Surah 60, Ayah 12, that was one of the conditions which Allah imposed on the believing women who came to take the oath of allegiance to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 414. Narrated Ubadah bin As-Samit, while we were with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he said, will you swear to me the pledge of allegiance that you will not worship anything besides Allah, will not commit illegal sexual intercourse, and will not steal? Then he recited the verse concerning the women. Sufyan, the sub-narrator, often said that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added, "Whoever among you fulfills his pledge, will receive his reward from Allah, and whoever commits any of those sins and receives the legal punishment, in this life, his punishment will be an expiation for that sin, and whoever commits any of those sins and Allah screens him, then it is up to Allah to punish or forgive them." Hadith 415. Narrated Ibn Abbas, I witnessed the Eid ul-Fitr prayer with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman, and all of them offered it before delivering the sermon, and then delivered the sermon. Once the Prophet, after completing the prayer and the sermon, came down, as if I am now looking at him waving at the men with his hand to sit down, and walked through them till he, along with Bilal, reached the rows of the women. Then he recited, O Prophet! When believing women come to you to take the oath of allegiance that they will not worship anything other than Allah, will not steal, will not commit illegal sexual intercourse, will not kill their children, and will not utter slander, intentionally forging falsehood, by making illegal children belonging to their husbands. Surah 60, Ayah 12. Having finished, he said, Do you agree to that? One lady, other than whom none replied to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Yes, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. The sub-narrator, Al-Hasan, did not know who the lady was. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to them, Will you give alms? Thereupon Bilal spread out his garment and the women started throwing big rings and small rings into Bilal's garment. Surah As-Saf, the solid ranks. Hadith 416. Narrated Jubayr bin Mut'im, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, I have several names, I am Muḥammad and I am Ahmad, and I am Al-Mahi with whom Allah obliterates kufr, disbelief, and I am Al-Hashir, gatherer, at whose feet, that is, behind whom, the people will be gathered, on the day of resurrection, and I am Al-Aqib, that is, who succeeds the other prophets in bringing about good. Surah Al-Jumu'ah, Friday Congregation. Hadith 417. Narrated Abu Hurairah, while we were sitting with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Surah Al-Jumu'ah was revealed to him, and when the verse, and he, Allah, has sent him, Muḥammad, also to other Muslims. Surah 62, Ayah 3, was recited by the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, I said, Who are they, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, did not reply till I repeated my question thrice. At that time, Salman al-Farisi was with us. So Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, put his hand on Salman, saying, If faith were at the place of Athuraiya, Pleiades, the highest star, even then, some men or man, from these people, that is, Salman's folk, would attain it. Hadith 418. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Then some men from these people would attain it. Hadith 419. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, a caravan of merchandise arrived at Medina on a Friday while we were with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. All the people left, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and headed for the caravan, except 12 persons. Then Allah revealed, But when they see some bargain or some amusement, they disperse headlong to it. Surah 62, Ayah 11. Surah Al-Munafiqun, the Hypocrites. Hadith 420. Narrated Zayd bin Arqam, while I was taking part in a ghazwa, I heard Abdullah bin Ubay, bin Abi Salul, saying, Don't spend on those who are with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, that they may disperse and go away from him. If we return to Medina, surely, the more honorable will expel the meaner amongst them. I reported that, saying, to my uncle or to Umar who, in his turn, informed the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, of it. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, called me and I narrated to him the whole story. Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sent for Abdullah bin Ubay and his companions, and they took an oath that they did not say that. So Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, disbelieved my saying and believed his. I was distressed as I never was before. I stayed at home and my uncle said to me, "You just wanted Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to disbelieve your statement and hate you." So Allah revealed, the surah beginning with, "When the hypocrites come to you," Surah 63, Ayah 1. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, then sent for me and recited it and said, "O Zayd, Allah confirmed your statement." Hadith 421. Narrated Zayd bin Arqam, I was with my uncle and I heard Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul saying, "Don't spend on those who are with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, that they may disperse and go away from him." He also said, "If we return to Medina, surely, the more honorable will expel the meaner." So I informed my uncle of that and then my uncle informed Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, thereof. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sent for Abdullah bin Ubay and his companions. They swore that they did not say anything of that sort. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, deemed their statement true and rejected mine. Thereof I became as distressed as I have never been before, and stayed at home. Then Allah revealed, Surah Al-Munafiqeen, "When the hypocrites come to you." Surah 63, Ayah 1. They are the ones who say, "Spend nothing on those who are with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him." Surah 63, Ayah 7. Verily the more honorable will expel therefrom the meaner. Surah 63, Ayat 7-8. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sent for me and recited that surah for me and said, "Allah has confirmed your statement." Hadith 422. Narrated Zayd bin Arqam, when Abdullah bin Ubay said, "Do not spend on those who are with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him," and also said, "If we return to Medina," I informed the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, of his saying. The Ansar blamed me for that, and Abdullah bin Ubay swore that he did not say. I returned to my house and slept. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, then called me and I went to him. He said, "Allah has confirmed your statement." The verse, "They are the ones who say, spend nothing," Surah 63, Ayah 7, was revealed. Hadith 423. Narrated Zayd bin Arqam, we went out with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on a journey and the people suffered from lack of provisions. So Abdullah bin Ubay said to his companions, "Don't spend on those who are with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, that they may disperse and go away from him." He also said, "If we return to Medina, surely, the more honorable will expel therefrom the meaner." So I went to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and informed him of that. He sent for Abdullah bin Ubay and asked him, but Abdullah bin Ubay swore that he did not say so. The people said, "Zayd told a lie to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him." What they said distressed me very much. Later, Allah revealed the confirmation of my statement in his saying, "When the hypocrites come to you." Surah 63, Ayah 1. So the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, called them that they might ask Allah to forgive them, but they turned their heads aside. Concerning Allah's saying, "Pieces of wood propped up," Zayd said, "They were the most handsome men." Hadith 424. Narrated Zayd bin Arqam, while I was with my uncle, I heard Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul saying, "Do not spend on those who are with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, that they may disperse and go away from him. And if we return to Medina, surely, the more honorable will expel therefrom the meaner." I mentioned that to my uncle who, in turn, mentioned it to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, called me and I told him about that. Then he sent for Abdullah bin Ubay and his companions, and they swore that they did not say so. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, disbelieved my statement and believed theirs. I was distressed as I have never been before, and I remained in my house. My uncle said to me, "You just wanted the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to consider you a liar and hate you." Then Allah revealed, "When the hypocrites come to you, they say, 'We bear witness that you are indeed the apostle of Allah,' Surah 63, Ayah 1. So the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, sent for me and recited it and said, 'Allah has confirmed your statement.'" Hadith 425. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, "We were in a ghazwa," Sufyan once said, "in an army, and a man from the emigrants kicked an Ansari man on the buttocks with his foot. The Ansari man said, 'O the Ansar! Help!' and the emigrant said, 'O the emigrants! Help!' Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, heard that and said, 'What is this call for, which is characteristic of the period of ignorance?' They said, 'O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. A man from the emigrants kicked one of the Ansar on the buttocks with his foot.' Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, 'Leave it, that call, as it is a detestable thing.' Abdullah bin Ubay heard that and said, 'Have they, the emigrants, done so? By Allah, if we return to Medina, surely, the more honorable will expel therefrom the meaner.' When this statement reached the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Umar got up and said, 'O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Let me chop off the head of this hypocrite, Abdullah bin Ubay.' The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, 'Leave him, lest the people say that Muḥammad kills his companions.' The Ansar were then more in number than the emigrants when the latter came to Medina, but later on the emigrants increased. Hadith 426. Narrated Musa bin Uqbah, Abdullah bin al-Fadl told me that Anas bin Malik said, 'I was much grieved over those who had been killed in the battle of Al-Harra. When Zayd bin Arqam heard of my intense grief over the killed Ansar, he wrote a letter to me saying that he heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, O Allah! Forgive the Ansar and the Ansar children. The sub-narrator, Ibn al-Fadl, is not sure whether the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, also said, and their grandchildren. Some of those who were present asked Anas about Zayd. He said, he, Zayd, is the one about whom Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, he is the one whose sound hearing Allah testified. Hadith 427. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, we were in a ghazwa and a man from the emigrants kicked an Ansari on the buttocks with his foot. The Ansari man said, O the Ansar! Help! The emigrant said, O the emigrants! Help! When Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, heard that, he said, What is that? They said, A man from the emigrants kicked a man from the Ansar on the buttocks with his foot. On that, the Ansari said, O the Ansar, and the emigrant said, O the emigrants. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Leave it, that call, for it is a detestable thing. The number of Ansar was larger than that of the emigrants, at the time when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, came to Medina, but later the number of emigrants increased. Abdullah bin Ubay said, Have they, the emigrants, done so? By Allah, if we return to Medina, surely, the more honorable will expel therefrom the meaner. Umar bin al-Khattab said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Let me chop off the head of this hypocrite. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Leave him, lest the people say, Muḥammad kills his companions. Surah at-Talaq, Divorce. Hadith 428. Narrated Salim, that Abdullah bin Umar told him that he had divorced his wife while she was in her menses, so Umar informed Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, of that. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, became very angry at that and said, Ibn Umar must return her to his house and keep her as his wife till she becomes clean and then menstruates and becomes clean again, whereupon, if he wishes to divorce her, he may do so while she is still clean and before having any sexual relations with her, for that is the legally prescribed period for divorce as Allah has ordered. Hadith 429. Narrated Abu Salama, a man came to Ibn Abbas while Abu Hurairah was sitting with him and said, Give me your verdict regarding a lady who delivered a baby 40 days after the death of her husband. Ibn Abbas said, This indicates the end of one of the two prescribed periods. I said, For those who are pregnant, their prescribed period is until they deliver their burdens. Abu Hurairah said, I agree with my cousin, Abu Salama. Then Ibn Abbas sent his slave, Quraib to Salama to ask her, regarding this matter. She replied, The husband of Subayyah al-Aslamiyah was killed while she was pregnant, and she delivered a baby 40 days after his death. Then her hand was asked in marriage and Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, married her, to somebody. Abu as-Sanabil was one of those who asked for her hand in marriage. Hadith 430. See Hadith before this.